Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat. My name is Catherine. Today we're going to paint a landscape with acrylic on a paper. Paper I'm using today, it's textured as a canvas, so this painting you can paint also on a canvas. Brushes for today, let's start with a white flat brush. Size really not that important, but I recommend to choose wide enough because process will go just faster if you will choose wide brush. If you have none of that, you have only small flat brushes, you can paint this landscape still, but this step one will take more time, more work from you. You can see right now I'm planning a waterfall. It will be on a center, but a little bit on the left side, more on the left side. And let me tell you about colors I'm using today. White and black, this is clear enough, visible. It's on top on my palette, and blue colors. As a blue one, I'm using today cobalt blue. I like it, and I like how it's mixing with a deep violet. So these two you can see under the white on my palette, and I'm mixing all together, not over mixing it on a palette, just taking one color, two colors, mix a little bit with 1-2 moves on palette and going on a list of a paper straight away. Again, important, do not mix too well on palette. We're not looking for the one color, one shaded mix, all well mixed. Better pick colors one by one and let it mix together on a paper. This way you will see so many colors and shades in one brush stroke. You can see right now I picked up another brush, not that wide. This brush from a set of 12 brushes, different shapes, and with this one it's possible to correct any areas you like, to add maybe more light shades, to fix some colors or shades you don't like from the white brush. If you will go with this or similar sized brush, the process of painting will go just a little slower than with a white brushes. White brushes I'm using today, it's from IKEA set. It's kind of cheap, but I like a smooth quality. Really like how this brush is working with the paint, especially with acrylic on a paper. So yes, I can recommend for everyone who looking white flat brushes for an affordable price. And about black color, important notice, do not add too much of black, because it's like eating colors. If you will put too much, you will get those grayish undertone. We don't need to. We wanna create really juicy a landscape. It's like a tropical. It will have mix of phthalo blue and violet today. And in my view, it's giving a feeling of tropical forest, and in the center we will create a waterfall. So if you will put too much of black, you will lose those fresh and very green, very deep green feeling of forest. You can pick a little bit, to give just a more depth to colors, more interesting shades, and some middle shades between them, between violet and cobalt blue, and nothing more. Right now you can see I already created like small areas on top Imagine it's a pieces of sky maybe on top, very deep colors right now, because there we also have a forest very far from us, and down there it's a coast's left and right one, and here, yes, we need full strengths of colors. Do not mix too much white, better go for cobalt blue, violet, deep, and a black all together. Very, very deep colors. I'm not using any extra water. Water I have close to me, but today I will use it only when I switch for dark to light, or from light to dark colors, nothing more. If we will use extra water for mixing, instead of those, interesting stripes of different colors in one brush stroke, we will get over mixed colors on a paper. So I'm using those acrylic I have from my tubes. It's have a little bit of color of water in it, and it's enough. So consistency, not watery at all, consistency as I have from my tubes. I switched again on white brush because I want to go a little bit faster, and also on my palette right now you can see phthalo green. If you have this color, you can go also for emerald or for any cold tone green from your palette. We really looking for cold tone one, like an emerald color, because later on top of it, for small and tiny details, for the leaves and light playing on it, we will use a warm tone green. So don't mix warm tone green right now on underpainting level. So coast starting from very deep shade on top and going down lighter and lighter. Careful with it, yes, on the bottom area we have to go for lighter shade, because later for a foreground we will use black colors on top, so we will look for contrast between background and a foreground. So remember about it. So start from dark and go for lighter and lighter shades. As I told you, I'm using water only if I'm switching from dark to light, light to dark colors. And as you can see now, I clean my brush, dry it with a napkin. Important also, no extra water on a palette, and I'm mixing white and a little bit of rose deep. If you have no rose deep, you can go for rose light or any cold tone red. It can be a bit of burgundy. If you find out burgundy too warm shade, you can add a tiny bit of cobalt blue also. And you can see right now color very light. It's lots of white in it in a mix, and I'm still going same directions with my brush strokes. All brush strokes right now going vertical. This is important. If on a previous tutorials we created flat brush strokes with different angles, right now we have to go just up and down. This is a patch of sky, not just blue. Imagine it can have maybe some touch of sun, like pinkish colors, violet colors in it. And we planning line of waterfall. From this line water will fall down. It doesn't mean line have to be horizon, no, it can have like angle a little bit. And from this line still in our imagination, we going up first with a very deep colors. I already have plenty mixes on palette, so I'm just picking those I have going up. This is elements of landscape we have far behind a waterfall. We don't need to create exact details like stones, like maybe trees or anything like that. Imagine this forest very wet. We have small splashes around, we have a steam going up, so it's not possible to see exact details behind. And colors here can be very, very juicy. Again, don't go for too much of black. We will correct a little bit on top, maybe later, but before, underpainting level not done completely, we actually can't understand, can't see clear if we have to fix something or not. Right now we're just mixing all colors on a paper, planning big values like a left coast, a right coast, and a size of waterfall, nothing more. This way to create a waterfall really easy, so if you're just starting to paint with acrylic, you can follow this tutorial. Okay, let's go down. Let's create underpainting level for future water. No details yet. It's a very beautiful mix of violet deep and cobalt blue, a tiny bit of black. You can see not that much white in it. And all my strokes going vertical. I'm just following water lines as water falling down. This way my brush going. And this way actually we're creating a motion of water here. You can turn your brush, you can paint with a flat side, or you can paint with the edge of it. The most important thing, go just down, very straight. Acrylic have no extra water in it on palette, so it's drying kind of fast. You can see I'm not covering the whole paper. It's not really possible because when we have no extra water in a mix, acrylic spreading not that well. But we creating nice coverage because of value of acrylic on a list of paper. If you're running out of paints on your palette, you just have to put more and more, you know, portions by portions. I like color of future waterfall right now. Let's create coast on the right side. Here I think I will create a forest already, and maybe some tiny like baby waterfalls. Imagine like it's a very slow forest river in a tropical forest, and when it's when it's running, usually it's a main river and some smallest ones going on the same direction on a left and a right from the main line, right? So it's very common when we have a big waterfall and a tiny lines of water on a left and a right side. If you want to create those on an underpainting level, you have to put their tiny amount of cobalt blue and violet. If you want to create just a mainstream just a main waterfall and no additional ones, no small ones on the left and right, then just go with the greens. Blue and a violet here, it's a color of water, for future water. Yes, we have no white on it, no white details, but we will add it in the future. Right now we're going with just a clear, very juicy and deep colors. Just remember, there you want to create forest later, you put green mostly. There you wanna create water later, you have to put blue and violet. We will have some stones under the waterfall. Let me complete area here, kind of deep and juicy blue and violets. I'm just, random mixing colors here. Yeah, like this. We have to wait till these colors will dry. Let's think about the last area here. Let me clean my brush. I will pick rose deep and a white, mix all together. We'll mix some blue and a gray from palette right now, and here I will go vertically first, like this. This is a bottom part when our waterfall touching the ground. So here we will have some stones like this, and water here can reflect sky color. So if for the sky you used rose deep, please use the same color here in this area, like this. All details, all those details like stones, grasses, leaves, we will put later. Right now I like how color is looking here, and right now you can step back a little bit and check from a distance if you like values, if you like a position of your future waterfall, because right now we still can change main areas here. If you wanna correct something, if you noticed you didn't cover paper or canvas, if you're painting on a canvas with acrylic, you still can do it. You can also correct a line of coast on a left side or right side, like this. See, I switched for smaller brush. Also, it's possible to paint with edge of this brush. It's kind of sharp, so I can control details really well. Wide brushes giving us speed of painting, but it's not controlling details. Sometimes, some tiny areas can look not that good. So with smaller brushes, right now we can correct areas. It's very depends, what you have right now on your own paper, because our results right now can be really far from each other. Because in this technique, colors mixing really free on a paper, so we can have a different result, and this is fine, and this is what I like about it. If you will take right now another piece of paper and you will do the same steps, you will have a different result again. So don't try to follow me exactly in each detail, it's just not possible. By the way, on my Patreon I will demonstrate to you two versions of this waterfall. I created one and another in one day, so I created two landscapes with similar compositions and colors. You will see how different it can look with one hand, with same hand, right? I created by myself with the same colors, same brushes. Everything the same, but it's looking different in the details. So we can correct something. I told you we can mix maybe more smooth colors on sky area above the waterfall line. And as soon as you like this result, we can create falling water. This is very easy. You can go with just a white, or you can go with a white with a tiny feeling of any colors we used before. It can be cobalt blue, violet, maybe a little bit of rose deep, not too much. And again, we don't need extra water. Instead of it, we need even more drying acrylic. If you will take a look on a spot of white on my palette right now, it's kind of white, the spot of white first, and also I have not that much paint on palette. This way acrylic drying kind of fast, right? This is what we're looking for, because look on my paper. I'm starting with a nice coverage, going fast in one go, and my brush stroke starting very white but going with nothing very soon, because paint not watery, it's not spreading well enough. I'm running out of color very fast. This is a line of waterfall, and I'm going down. Like this. Imagine here we have a stone, so water will follow the line of stone and will fall down from it. And again. I'm trying not to correct myself. I'm just going with one brush stroke, not correcting it really, so each brush stroke right now unique. You have to be kind of careful with it. And it's very important to keep consistency as a dry, not to put water at all. And right now you can see this canvas textured paper very well. I really recommend do not choose smooth surface of paper. It can be torchon, it can be like this canvas textured one. Any will do, any will go well, but smooth paper, it's spreading color better than this kind of paper, and you probably will get not that textured brush strokes. Usually we have splashes around, and when beginners trying to create water drops around, usually it's around brushes. I do not recommend to do it here, because you are risking to ruin the water motion here. It's all vertical, so even if you want to create like a splashes around, still go up or down, just keep vertical direction. I also have like a mini waterfalls on the left and the right, and I told you I'm planning like a baby waterfalls, mostly on a right coast because it's wider than the left one. And here color of water can be not that bright, not that wide. Technique the same, it's a half dry brush going vertically. More color I have from the start, and just spreading color down. Let's step a little bit back. Let's check from a distance how it's going. I like how central waterfall looking right now. Let me detail waterfall on the right side a little better. And you can see I can turn my brush on a flat side or on a sharp edge. And sharp edge giving me a nice, very thin brush stroke. And I can create a tiny water streams here. This is another stone, so we can create water here as well. Maybe one more here. Let's create tiny ones here as well. Later it's possible to correct all details with a line brush also, or with a brush number like 0 or 1. But wide and flat brushes, painting faster, that's why I like it. All details I can create with flat brushes, I will go with it. And only when I feel it's already too big, I'm switching to less size of brush. Same for you, my friends. Of course, we have like a main recommendations, but it cannot work for everyone. If you feel free, if you feel really comfortable with your favorite brush, go with it. If you feel like it's covering too big areas, you don't like it, switch for less size, even if in this time I'm still working with a wide one. With flat brushes, we need to have some experience how to work with, because it's just a big enough, so it's not possible to control tiny details well. But again, depends from your experience. As more you will paint, as more free and comfortable you will feel yourself with it. If you feel like you need tiny brushes right now, just go for it. Same about colors. This mix of phthalo, green and violet depends from the mood, really. In my view, it can bring some melancholical mood on a painting, so if you want to change it somehow, you can go for less violet, for more blue, and for just a normal middle shade green. I just want, in this tutorial, I just want to demonstrate how to create falling water very easy. So after this one, you will be able to include these waterfalls, same size, maybe less size, on your own landscapes. It can be just a tiny waterfall somewhere in a deep forest, for example. It can be a huge one, as a Victoria, for example, Victoria waterfall. Area around can look different, but you will already know how to create effect of falling water. It's deep toned underpainting first, and all white stripes, all those value of falling water, you're creating on top with a white half dry acrylic with the flat brushes. So this is the main idea of tutorial. Area on a bottom where we already have floating water, not falling one, brush strokes here can go horizon, so it's a flat still but have another direction, following direction of water. We can create splashes, but again we go not around, not as a fun shape, right? Spreading around, we're going up again, keeping those vertical lines all the time. And also I will add a tiny bit of rose deep with white on a waterfall lines, because you know I just like a reflection. Maybe later when we will add a green around also, we can reflect green as well. White color, what I love about it, white color reflecting everything around. So as soon as you're adding new color on your landscape, you can reflect it in a water, and this will look really beautiful. Your waterfall will play with all colors you have around on your landscape. I like pink color here, looking so pretty and fresh. So probably I will add it on the left side also. Let me mix a little bit. Not just, you know, just a clean rose deep, no. Also plus violet. Yeah, like this. See, I'm still keeping the direction of my brush strokes. No any random. It's all go or up or down. A little bit here as well. Let me step back a little bit and check how it's looking. Yeah, I don't really like a flat, big brush stroke on a middle small waterfall. Oh, too much water, yeah. And see how it's spreading too well. Now I have to fix it. Well, but I demonstrate to you right now how it's going if you have an extra water on your brush. See, acrylic spreading really well everywhere where we need it and we don't. So I will cover it on top with the white. We'll fix it. Yeah, like this. Very important, we have to go with a bit drying acrylic consistency, other way it's covering on the painting level too well. Instead of it, we need underpainting visible through the next layers of acrylic. Yeah, I fixed it right now. And I like how it's looking. I will step back again. I'm trying not to cut moments when I'm checking from a distance, because hopefully this way you also will take time to see from like 1 meter or so to take a look on your own painting, because in main colors and details we can understand correctly from a distance. When we working on details, our eyes too close to our painting and some big values we're taking wrong. So remember, especially if you're going closer and closer to the final result, you have to step back and check how it's looking in general. If you're painting on easel, it's very easy for you. You just, holding your back a little bit, making more distance between your eyes and painting. If you go same as I do, I'm painting on a table because I have a camera on top, so I have to stand up a little bit and sit down back. So if you're painting on a table, you have to do the same. This way we have more distance. When we're standing up, we can understand better how it's looking in general and correct something. For corrections, I really like a tiny line brush. I already demonstrated to you so many times this brush and what it can do with acrylic. About consistency of acrylic for this brush. Only for this brush we need some extra water on palette. For flat brushes, no, we don't. For this brush, yes, because this brush can have not that big amount of acrylic on it. Consistency have to be more watery, just a little bit more watery than a normal acrylic from the tube. And we can correct some tiny lines, maybe some splashes, maybe some lines of water falling down. Everything you like to correct right now you can do with a tiny brush. If you have no line brush, first of all, of course, I can recommend to get it. It's not that unique shape. It can find on local stores around you, or also I have some links you can check on the description box, follow it, and there I have materials I'm using. It's all possible to find by links I did for you. So yes, I like line brushes. If you're going with a brush 0, normal brush 0 or 1, nothing wrong with it. Also, just shorter brushes holding less acrylic on it, and you will go for the new portion of acrylic from palette sooner than I do with my long bristle brush. I'm not looking for the solid line, it will not look as a water. Line can be irregular, can have a less white or low white, like this. It's a natural shapes, it's not a geometrical shapes, so it can be irregular. Also, we can fix, some tiny details, maybe some deeper tone stripes we don't like at this moment. And as soon as you're happy with the waterfall, we will go to the next part. We will create foreground details. See, like I'm standing up a little bit, so my camera have a little motion, and I'm sitting down again. I like to have a bit of white here. Violet stone under the dropping water. Let me correct here. Some tiny details always looking pretty on the foreground. Maybe a bit of lines here as well. Hopefully I commented everything really detailed. This way of creating waterfalls very easy, and it's a lot of fun, especially as for me. I like color combinations on an underpainting step. It can be so different. You can go for less violet, you can go for unnatural colors like a deep red, like green colors, for some fantastical landscapes also. But as soon as you will add those falling white stripes on top, you will get a feeling of falling water, of waterfalls. So that's why it's so easy, to get. And again, waterfalls is very pretty and interesting details if you're just creating, simple small river, maybe in a forest, or maybe some field when you have a small river on it. Just create like 1 or 2 stones and a tiny waterfall on a foreground that's looking so pretty and detailed, just giving a really fresh touch on a landscape. So that's why I like to include tiny waterfalls on a composition. Water giving fresh, not just for us, in a real nature. It's also giving a fresh feeling on landscapes, on paintings. So I like my waterfall. Right now I wanna create some greens around. Right now with these color combinations I'm looking more for tropical view here. So next color I'm using, it's green medium on my palette. I'm mixing with white. It's very juicy green, I must say, and with a mix of white it's even more brighter and beautiful. Technique same, half dry acrylic. And I'm not creating exactly like leaves right now. It's mostly spots and lines. And also remember, I told you all colors you adding can reflect in water. So as soon as we adding greens around, some feeling of green can be visible in a water also. And remember those tiny green plants that usually growing on a wet stones around. So place green here where we have stones under the water. Not too green, just a tiny touch of green here or there. As soon as you will mix green medium with violet, tone can be very deep, so be careful with it. It's opposite colors. If you will check the coloring, you will see violet opposite green. So if you will mix these two colors together, it will give a grayish, not saturated combination. It also can be good enough here because under the white lines of water we can create some deep shadows on the stones, maybe like this. But here I prefer to see saturated colors, so instead of mix on palette green with a violet, I will use these colors separate and mix it on a paper. This way, when we're not over mixing colors too well on palette, on a paper we will see like stripes of green and violet together. like this. Let me stand up again. I want to check how it's looking from a distance. And I think I want to go for next step right now. And a new color I add on my palette. This is cadmium lemon. If you have no cadmium lemon, it can be also just a lemon color, or it can call citron. Some trademark have this name. I like to combine this cadmium lemon with a green medium. And this green sounds so fresh here. Again, you can reflect, you can add this color on some white stripes of falling water. Like this. Really mystical river, mystical waterfall. It's like shining deep in a forest right now. I also will add a bit of pink colors here and there. Maybe a bit here. This detail's very tiny right now, and it depends what look you want to get on your paper. Let me check it. Maybe a little bit here. And let me check it again. See, I'm following of my own recommendation to get back a little bit and check from the distance if you're happy with painting or not. I do same for me, and trust me, I will do the same mistake over detailing if I will not follow this advice. My teacher from the art school, she reminded us so many times we have to see from mirror or so from our paintings or drawings how it's going. This way it's possible to keep the common balanced view, not to ruin it in a process. Still, it's possible to detail, to bring some new colors, some fresh details, but it's possible to keep painting as one. Even if I remembered about this recommendation from my teacher all the time, sometimes, I can be lazy. And I already know from my experience, if I'm lazy, if I'm not checking from the distance how it's going, how it's looking in the process, I'm falling into the over detailing. And I can, it's painting can look interesting here and there and in this area, but all together it's looking not balanced. That's how process going if we working on a short distance all the time. I'm detailing with a line brush again. I already added green details like plants, maybe filling of plants on a left side and a right side. So that's why I already can add a tiny streams of white. Enough, I believe. Oh, beautiful green I get on my palette. Really emerald, isn't it? I will tap on a paper. It's even not a brush strokes. I'm really tapping. Maybe some lines. Layers and layers of beautiful colors. Colors sound so pretty here because we have a beautiful underpainting. I told you not to use too many black, so probably you also have a very dark but juicy colors on underpainting. And all those colors now sounds very pretty with the colors we have on top. I'd like to create a twig of tree going from the top right to the left side, but for better contrast, let's create a steam here, like a feeling of wet steam. For steam, I will use flat brush again. Color, it's a mix of violet and white and a little bit of black. Consistency very dry. You can see right now spot of color on palette really big, so acrylic drying fast. And I'm spreading this shade as a translucent layer on the right top corner, just spreading all around. It really doesn't matter if brush strokes visible well enough or not, or you blending colors smoothly. Doesn't matter because on top we will create patches of leaves and some twigs and branches. Also beautiful shade, like I added a tiny bit of cobalt blue also for the shine on top of waterfalls, those baby ones. It's like a steam going up from the waterfalls. Maybe a bit here and there. I like set of brushes from IKEA, you know, because they have like 6 brushes in it and 2 of them flat. And I like Bristol. It's synthetic but very, very smooth. So these brushes working really well with acrylic. And I like the biggest watercolor brush from set also, because of size and shape. And I like very short poles. It's so handy if you're traveling, because usually artistic brushes have long poles. Well, it's good for easel, for painting on easel, but it's not a traveler friendly. We have a summer season very soon here, so hopefully I will travel a little bit with my family, at least maybe somewhere out of the city for fresh views and air and everything. And I like when my kids are drawing and painting with me on a nature, but yeah, long poles those time not friendly at all. So this IKEA brush is lots of fun, really. First time I got this set for my little one, for my son. Right now he is like 5.5, So yes, I like to paint with these brushes, and as soon as I noticed this brush is really good, actually, especially for its price, I got like more packs for me. So right now we have a different packs. My son have one, my daughter have like two, because she visiting art school at the moment. And for myself, I also got two packs. You know, when you have more persons around you who painting, also they always taking your brushes instead of their own, right? Because yours like always on a place where brushes have to be. That's why I have to get extra for myself. Well, we already created a stem, so next it's brushes and branches. Imagine here we have like a tree maybe, and color here very simple and flat, it's just black. Black will have here the most contrast between color and the background area behind it, so just go with black. On my Patreon, I already shared to you some pictures where we can find nice looking details from the real trees, real branches. When we taking these details from our imagination or memory, usually we're not keeping these tiny details like a shape, how it's cross each other, you know, all those. Sometimes we keep in the memory like a main shape of tree. For example, for sure you can remember a fir tree, the main shape, and for example main shape of the like a birch tree. That's true. But if you need to create it in a really details, it can be tricky to do. That's why I recommend to you to collect you know, your own photos, maybe some interesting trees around you can find on your walk around. We'll have a mobile phones, it's just a second to take a photo of interesting branch above your head, for example, and just keep it on your phone or maybe on your computer. And in a moment you have to create like interesting grasses or maybe interesting branches. You don't need to call your own memory. Better just use a reference photo. There you can find so many beautiful details. I have a huge library for myself where I have interesting details, and I'm taking it as soon as I need to. I will share some of you with a sketch from this tutorial. Also, yes, today we have no sketch, but for some of us it's really helping to understand the composition better, so it can help on first steps of painting to transfer lines for future landscapes. So yes, there you can find on a Patreon sketch from this tutorial and from this painting, and also reference photo with beautiful grasses and branches. As I told you right now, color just black, and as soon as we're using a line brush, consistency of black can be watery enough, really watery, because we have to create long line, very, very smooth line. Don't be worried, we not keep these black lines just as a silhouette of grasses and details. When we're using black silhouettes first, it will give us in the future more depth for our forest. So on top we will create another layers and layers of grasses and branches. Actually, you can go with so many layers you like to. As for me, I will go with like 3 maybe, and it's enough. See, lines really long, so consistency, we have to create more watery than before. Some leaves maybe. For those who living close to a tropical forest, it's really easy to get details from the nature around. For me, I'm living in a kind of cold weather here, in a cold climate, so here we only have in a botanical garden we have some tropical plants, so there it's possible to get some interesting photo for inspiration maybe, but of course photos we can find in internet the best reference for details for us. Let's also plant some leaves. First we can go with a very deep mix, but it's already not just a black, it's a mix of deep green and a black. It can be medium green, it can be combination of medium green and phthalo green, any will do, you know. But also add there black for nice contrast with the background there. Doesn't matter if some details like leaves or branches have a dark background behind it right now, because later we will add a light details also. I have to comment it right now. I have it in a plans in my head, but you know, you can't read what I have in my mind, right? So I have to comment what I have in the future. Don't try to put it right now there, because still, even if you have a low contrast between leaves and branches and a background there, it's still a tiny bit of contrast. Go with a dark layer first. And by the way, it's not smart to jump to the light colors right now. We already have a dark mix on a brush and a dark mix on a palette. Go everywhere you need with this color first, and when we have to switch for lighter shades, we will clear our brush first, and then we will get a really fresh and a beautiful light mix. Like this, maybe a bit here. I still have to jump up and check from the mirror or so how it's looking, if I added enough of leaves or not. Maybe one more branch here. Let me check again. Maybe more visible branch here as well with a line brush. Yeah, I like how this line looking right now. I'm touching my palette right now if it's dry on the bottom part or not. For me it's important because I want to keep all mixes visible on a camera for you, so I have area of palette much bigger than it's visible under the camera, but I have to mix only on area that possible to demonstrate what colors I'm using. So all violets down there already dry. Remember about it, I'm not mixing I'm not mixing with the violets right now. I'm only mixing green medium, lemon, cadmium lemon, and a white. And we go with a very fresh, like a lime green color. And we're creating right now all those tiny details. This is a time for leaves. Brush any you like, any you comfortable to work with, you can grab. It can be number 1 or 0. It can be some shaped brushes for grass, can be fan brush, any you like to create plants around. As for me, you know myself, I like a line brush because of really long lines and beautiful controlled curves. So I will go with this brush. Only issue I have, it's mixing with this long bristle. It's almost not possible. Consistency, watery enough, of course, so it's extra water plus more fresh green and yellow all the time. Be careful, green eating lemon really fast. So if you're looking for those lime green, you don't have to mix like half of green and half of lemon. It's lots of lemon and a tiny bit of green. It's a question of pigmentation, it's a question of color reacting. Basically, we remember how it's mixing from experience, right? Just, some colors have a less pigmentation and coverage. So for cadmium lemon, I know it's a translucent color, and also for some others, for example, for violet light, I had an issue before. It's had a low pigmentation also, color was translucent. I created lavender fields with it. And also different trademarks, different named acrylic have a different coverage for colors. Of course, you have to know your own acrylic well enough. I already demonstrated how I opened my watercolor. On my channel, it's free to check tutorial, so you can review, you can find it. And also I demonstrate there how to create samples on a paper to check coverage and a color. It can be look different on tube color, and on a paper. So of course, if you have your favorite set or your favorite trademark of acrylic, you also have to do your own samples. So probably you know better coverage amount of your acrylic if you have similar as mine. Mine lemon like a half translucent, so just a tiny bit of plus green, giving me this fresh lime color already. Also, I'm adding violet plants. And it doesn't matter if it's not real, it's just looking beautiful together with the lime lines and leaves, isn't it? It's also can be a pink, it's also can be a yellow, just a clear yellow without green. Only I do not recommend to include cadmium yellow medium because it's too warm undertone. Here, in my view, lemon here sitting much better, feeling this landscape much better. And the same as we used for grass on a foreground, this colorful light detailing layer we will repeat for the branches on top. Also, I'm spreading a tiny bit of dots around. It's not a leaf. In leaves, imagine it's like maybe some big drops that reflecting green colors all around. It can be some shiny details, doesn't matter really. Let me also add green leaves and a stem here. I'm going leaf by leaf, kind of accurate right now. I told you you can plan and create many layers and switch black layer of plants and later light layer of plants, but as for me, that's enough. Usually I'm trying to complete this size painting in around 1 hour and a half, especially if landscape not hard to create. In this time I still have a fresh view. If painting going longer than 2 hours, we usually losing our attention, so we have to get breaks between the different stages of painting. So sometimes it can be, yes, but I really prefer to complete paintings in one go. Here also leaves for tree, as I told, we already have a mix, right? So we already used it on the grasses. Just do the same for leaves on top. Also we can have some light reflections, not just on the leaves, on the branches and the twigs also. Just don't go with it on every branch, you know, on some places only. Like this. Leaves don't need to be connected really to the branch. It's like a spots. But as soon as you will step back a little bit, all those green spots will give you a feeling of those green leaves, moving green leaves. Bit wet because we have water very close to plants. So see, it's like a spots actually. Well, let me check. Yes, I like how it's looking on right side now. Left side, left coast here looking empty a little bit. So I think I will detail it, but let me put some extra shiny details first here. Right now I mixed only lemon and white, and I will go again not everywhere, just separate single spots here and there as a play of lights on a wet leaves. If you will put it everywhere, you know, it will look not that interesting, not that catchy. And that's enough. And maybe 1 or 2 on top. Well, maybe 1 or 2, it's too less. Let's say 5. Okay, maybe 10. Okay, it's time to pay attention for the left side. Left coast. Here, all the same, but just don't put too many details here. We already have interesting area on the right side. Don't draw too much attention on the left side, right? From the right one. So maybe dark stones here. And the steps the same. First, it's gonna be a dark silhouettes of a future plants, and later second layer of a beautiful light green plants on it. Let's go line by line. If for water we used vertical direction only, for plants we can use any direction we like to. It's even will look more interesting if you will, choose lines with different angles. One by one, lines really thin. Maybe some leaves here and there. You can put here as many details as you like to. As for me, I really like to put more leaves and grasses on the right side to have it there, and here on the left side. Just a bit, imagine like it's a really tiny island, piece of ground where just small number of grasses could grow up. So we don't need to create many. We have here kind of light background, lighter, much lighter than black, that we painting right now with. So we really have very visible this grasses shape of it, and we can create one by one. And I like how line brush painting this type of leaves, thin, very pointy, kind of long one. That's it. Let me check from the distance to be sure I put enough of those dark silhouettes. And a next layer, it's light grasses on top. Direction you can see right now, grasses from the left side. They going to the waterfall direction, like they trying to touch water. On another side, on the right side, same, grasses like trying to grab a little bit of water there. So grasses from the right side going on the left, and from the left side going on the right. Very shiny, very contrasted lime and a lemon yellow. Just one by one. No need to put contrasted detail, those accents everywhere, just a tiny bit, because this contrast so catchy, especially this shiny lemon yellow, also very, it's taking so much attention from the viewer, so you don't need to be accurate at all, because imagine it's also like wind blowing a little bit, like water giving also some wet air around, that giving motion to the grasses around the water. So we don't need to create accurate shaped grasses. It's not a garden, right? We have no gardener here who could create really regular shapes, so we don't have to put those leaves one by one very accurate. No, instead of it, create some house. Imagine it's a wild grasses in a deep forest. and a little bit of shiny dots around. I'm not spreading it with a fun brush. It's also can be, I just don't need so many dots here, so I prefer to put it one by one with just a normal brush. And that's it. I think I'm kind of happy on this side as well. If you like to, you can also add violet and blue grasses as we did on the right side. If you don't, you can skip this moment. As for me, enough blue and violet grasses I have on the right side. Right now I have to put my sign. As for you, my dear friends, even if you're following someone tutorials, mine tutorials or any others, it's still your own painting, so please sign it. Also, I really recommend to turn your painting back and put a date where you painted, when you created it, because in the future, some days we're not keeping in the memory really clear, but to check your progress in the future, it's so helpful when you can turn your painting back and check how many time passed from those moments you create this. And I really recommend return back to tutorials after like maybe months or so. It's even can be half year or year, because this way you will better understand some techniques and details you probably missed from the first go, from the first try. And of course, doesn't matter if you're happy with your result or you don't, just keep all your paintings one by one. It's also helping to us into learning starting process, because we can get back to our paintings, we can understand with the time, we can understand better what details we was really lucky to get right, we created really beautiful, and what details we probably got wrong. Also, I can tell you our view changing with time and experience. Sometimes, we like really happy with the result, but time passed and you again checking it and you starting to understand you missed something, or you probably over detail some areas. So yeah, doesn't matter if you're happy or not, just keep all your painting even if it's not complete. By the way, of course, I recommend to complete any painting, just paint it till the end, because only in the end you can really understand if work turned well or not. Especially it's important for watercolor, because sometimes it's looking like a total mess and only final detailization giving those interesting watercolor effect. We like watercolor about it because it's going like a spots and spreading colors everywhere, and after like 5 touches everything looking fine. Acrylic the same, oil the same, but just this kind of paints, acrylic and oil, have more control. We can control it better. But it's also have this moment like painting can look like a total mess and only a final detailization foreground giving a really nice and balanced final result. You can see right now all we have to do, dry our painting completely, especially if you're painting on a paper. Hot air making glue on a tape less sticky and more soft, so it's possible to remove this tape very safe without throwing any layer of paper. This is important not to ruin your painting in the last moment. That's it, my dear friends. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will wait for your paintings. Please share it to me through Instagram, Facebook, and of course Patreon wall, #PaintyKat. It was a PaintyKat. I wish you all the best and bye bye.